Few can rival the Texans' rags to riches tale. The 79-year-old is rightly proud of how he overcame a tough start to life to become a globally recognized sporting icon.
Lee Trevino's presence today is more than nostalgia. It's a statement of endurance and influence. What looks like quiet retirement is really a testament to his legacy and the roots of golf. Behind it lies a story of resilience and identity few are telling, and I've uncovered everything they haven't shared. From humble roots to golf immortality, Lee Trevino's story is among the most remarkable origin stories in the history of golf. A rise from modest beginnings to becoming a legend whose name remains synonymous with grit, skill, and character. Born December 1, 1939, near Dallas, Texas, Trevino came from a working-class background. He served in the U.S. Marine Corps for 4 years before returning to civilian life and eventually taking club professional and odd job work at local golf courses.
At the time, I was playing extremely well. In other words, I got on a hot putting streak. All of a sudden, I fell into it, and I started making putts, and I went in to the playoff in 1971 with Nicklaus, and I beat him in the playoff. Gave me a tremendous amount of confidence. I went to the Canadian Open.
He entered the professional circuit in 1967 and quickly made an impact. Through raw talent, a self-taught, unorthodox swing, and a steel-nerved approach to competition, qualities shaped perhaps by his early life and background, he emerged as one of the game's elite. His career record speaks for itself: 29 PGA Tour victories and 6 major championships, including 2 U.S. Opens, 1968, 1971, 2 Open Championships, 1971, 1972, and 2 PGA Championships, 1974, 1984. But it isn't just the titles that defined him. In 1971, he cemented his place in golf lore by winning the U.S. Open, Canadian Open, and the Open Championship in a span of about 20 days, a Triple Crown run that many regard as one of the sport's most extraordinary feats. Trevino's legacy transcends statistics. As one of the few major champions of Mexican-American descent, rising from modest beginnings, he symbolized possibility, that talent, toughness, and heart could overcome systemic barriers and traditional expectations. Over decades, his charisma, humor, and authenticity made him a fan favorite, a bridge between the traditional generation of golf and future ones. That arc, from part-time club worker to Hall of Fame superstar, remains one of golf's most powerful narratives. Survival after the strike, the resilience that defined his career. Trevino's journey was far from smooth. In 1975, mere months after his 1974 PGA Championship win, he endured a near-catastrophic event. He was struck by lightning during a tournament round. The lightning caused injuries to his arm and back, leading to serious spinal disc damage and eventually to surgery.
I don't think I really realized what I've accomplished and what the game of golf had done for me until after I got hit by lightning in 1975. It was a fast and rocky road for me until then.
Such an event could have ended many athletes' careers, especially given the severity of injuries and the limitations of medical and rehabilitation methods of the time. For Trevino, it forced a reckoning: chronic back problems, periodic surgeries, and a greatly reduced competitive calendar. Yet, in characteristic fashion, Trevino refused to let the lightning strike, literal and metaphorical, define the end of his story. In 1984, nearly a decade after the strike, he captured another PGA Championship, proving that old-school resilience and mental toughness could still beat physical adversity. Beyond titles, this comeback reinforced a core part of his legacy, not just as a winner, but as a survivor, an athlete who understood that pain, setbacks, and even near-death experiences are part of the human journey. In a sport often criticized for tradition and decorum, Trevino's story brought raw humanity, reminding fans and players alike that even icons bleed, struggle, and sometimes fight just to walk again. His resilience added a layer of respect and mythology around him, enhancing both his legend and the sense that he belonged among golf's immortals. At 85, still swinging, storytelling, engaging, Trevino. Today, fast forward to 2025, Lee Trevino is 85 years old, yet by many accounts remains far from a silent or forgotten figure. Recent public appearances show a man still deeply connected to golf, to its history, and its people. He recently headlined a health and wellness event at the Dick's Open via a partnership with United Health Services, UHS, where he took part in an interview and Q&A session on the 18th green after the Pro-Am tournament.
Mr. Trevino, thanks for joining us on the range.
Enjoyed it.
The only problem is I don't feel much like talking today.
Well, you don't have to talk. You just have to listen, because I had a good night last night, and I can't wait to get up in the morning just to hear what I have to say.
He reportedly continues to play golf, not as a contender, but as a passionate participant, practicing daily, working on his short game, and even conducting clinics. For example, in December 2024, he ran a short game and bunker play clinic at a club in Mexico, interacting with attendees and sharing his knowledge, wit, and stories. His daily routine remains disciplined. Regular practice, maintenance of mobility and fitness, showing that age has not erased his connection to the game. Even if he's no longer competing for titles, Trevino remains active, embodying a love for golf rather than a drive for trophies. He blends past and present, a living link between golf's golden era and today's evolving landscape. This continued presence matters. As many former champions fade quietly, Trevino stays visible, not for fame, but for continuity and authenticity. His willingness to share, teach, and engage gives new generations a direct touchpoint to golf's past, its rough edges, its character, its heart. In a sport often curated and polished, Trevino remains rough around the edges, and alive. Still speaking, on golf's future, its divides, and what matters. Even in his mid-80s, Trevino hasn't shied away from voicing his opinions about contemporary golf. In 2025, during coverage of the Players' Championship, he offered candid remarks about the ongoing conflicts between established tours and upstart leagues, like Live Golf, declaring bluntly, "I think it's dead."
I love the name of the show, but you have to be careful of who you interview when you're talking about deep thoughts, because when you're talking to people that are 75 years old, they can't remember what the hell they did yesterday.
Despite the turmoil in the sport, Trevino expressed respect for current leadership, especially noting admiration for the efforts of the tour's commissioner in navigating turbulent times. He acknowledged that golf is in a hell of a position. Yes, fans and ratings are up, the pace has changed, modern broadcasts highlight entertainment. Beyond conflict, Trevino has also weighed in on structural questions. For example, his support for elevating the status of the Players' Championship to a fifth major, citing its strong field, viewership, and current relevance as justification. These are not nostalgic reflections, but active engagement, commentary informed by decades of experience, deep understanding of the sport's evolution, and a moral compass shaped by survival and authenticity. Trevino doesn't speak as a former champion looking back with rose-tinted nostalgia. He speaks as someone still invested in the future, one who has seen golf's golden age, its fractures, its transformations, and isn't afraid to call what he sees. Legacy beyond wins. Trailblazer for representation in golf. Lee Trevino's importance stretches far beyond the 29 PGA Tour victories and 6 major championships. He helped reshape who golf could belong to. Born in Dallas in 1939 and raised in humble circumstances, Trevino began his life around golf not as a privileged club member, but as a caddy. His path up to greatness came without the traditional pedigree, private clubs, or elite mentors.
You have to love it. You have to look forward to playing it. I think the most important thing is you don't get discouraged.
Because of that background and his heritage as a Mexican-American, Trevino carried with him enormous symbolic weight. To many in minority communities, especially Latino and Mexican-American fans and aspiring players, he became living proof that golf, long seen as a sport for the elite or the privileged, could be reached by talent, grit, and perseverance. He didn't just stop at representation. Over the years, Trevino championed efforts to democratize access to golf. He has voiced support for youth programs, public courses, and opportunities for anyone, regardless of background, to play and improve. As recently as 2020, he called for more accessible junior golf programs and public course access, echoing lessons from his own childhood playing on rough, hard-pan lands when he lacked traditional lush fairways. His influence also reshaped cultural expectations within the sport. with a self-taught swing, a sense of humor, an unfiltered personality, and a story of triumph against socioeconomic odds, Trevino challenged the stereotype of what a top golfer should look or sound like. In doing so, his legacy persists, not just in scorecards or trophy cases, but in the idea that golf can be inclusive, that talent can come from anywhere, and that cultural heritage and humble beginnings need not preclude greatness. For many, Trevino remains a hero not because he won majors, but because he changed the narrative of who belongs in golf. Honors, recognition, how the game still celebrates him. Trevino's contributions to golf have been formally recognized many times, and as recently as 2023, organizers of the sport continue to honor him for shaping golf's landscape. In October 2023, the Robert Trent Jones Society, RTJ Society, awarded Trevino its Legacy Award, citing his lifetime of contributions both on and off the course. The award acknowledged not only his major championship pedigree and tournament record, but his charitable work, his role in popularizing the sport, and his enduring influence across generations.
83 years old, Tiger. I know you've been a big fan of his for a long, long time and a good friend as well.
Man, Lee Buck has been the best. I got a chance to watch him do a clinic at El Dorado Park during our Southern California match play.
This kind of recognition underscores how Trevino's impact isn't seen as part of a bygone era, but as a legacy that continues to matter in present-day golf. Through formal honors, the institutions of the sport still affirm his relevance. Beyond awards, honorary gestures, such as streets named after him, reflect his status as more than a golfer, a cultural icon and community emblem. In public events too, Trevino remains a draw. For example, in July 2025, he headlined a health and wellness expo tied to a major tournament, joining a post-pro-am Q&A on the 18th green, a sign that even at age 85, the game still seeks his voice, stories, and presence. These honors and platforms demonstrate that Trevino's value to golf isn't frozen in history. He remains a living bridge between generations, celebrated for what he achieved and what he still symbolizes: perseverance, authenticity, and the broadening of golf's reach. Still in the game, what Trevino could mean for golf's future. Although his competitive prime ended decades ago, Lee Trevino continues to occupy a meaningful place in modern golf and remains positioned to influence its future in subtle but important ways.
Charlie, if you go England, you can keep it low and run it forever. I'm gonna tell you. Hey, Charlie.
For starters, through his continued activity. As recently as late 2024 and 2025, Trevino has participated in clinics, wellness events, and public appearances. He retains a daily golf routine, practices his short game, and remains engaged with fans. This ongoing engagement preserves continuity between past and present generations, a living memory of a different era sharing space with the modern game. Beyond playing an appearance, Trevino's involvement in ventures such as the clothing brand Supermex Golf shows his interest in using personal legacy to influence the style, culture, and accessibility of golf. The brand revives his identity, heritage, and flair, packaging them in apparel that speaks to a broader, possibly younger or more diverse audience. His voice and platform also carry potential influence over structural and social issues in golf: access, diversity, socioeconomic barriers, youth development. Given his background and moral authority, when Trevino speaks about making golf more open or supporting underrepresented players, his words carry weight with fans, media, and institutions. Finally, Trevino's resilience, surviving poverty, injuries including a lightning strike, back surgery, and decades of changes in the sport, gives him a unique moral standing. That credibility could help shape conversations around what golf should value. Not only trophies and purses, but story, heart, access, and community. In short, Trevino isn't just a legend of the past. He remains a resource for the present and potentially a quiet architect of the future, embodying continuity, change, and hope for what golf can be beyond tradition. As Lee Trevino steps back onto the public stage, one thing is undeniable: his presence still commands respect, even in a world racing toward money and spectacle. His legacy, endurance, and influence remain a quiet but powerful reminder of what golf is truly about. The only question now is how the game will honor the roots he represents while pushing forward into the future. That's all for today. Hit subscribe to stay updated on every twist in the story of this living legend.